Good evening, February 27th on the Alan Osborne Show. Uh, I guess I'm going to start off today. It's going to be a long show. Got a lot to say. Got some pictures of some people. Don't know if I'm going to put them up or not. But I'm going to start out with a big congratulations on the Alan Osborne Show. And, I usually say at the end of the show, but I'm going to tell you at the beginning of the show that you can't make this shit up. Truthfully, my heart is heavy tonight. It was really heavy this afternoon, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But first, I want to move on to some good things. In the battle for the people versus bad government, there was a great victory in Defuniak Springs yesterday. Let me tell you. Basically, the council, if you weren't keeping up with it, they wanted to change the city charter so they could hire an unqualified, who didn't meet minimum requirements, candidate to run Defuniak Springs. And why? Because he was politically connected. That's the only fucking reason. Excuse my French. Is Mike Barker. Now, they so bad wanted to change the city charter to hire a guy who, when elected to the BCC, as soon as he thought the shit show had hit the fan, he quit and chased the money. After he'd already broken a promise to the voters to serve for 4 years, somehow this guy was sliced bread and had the integrity of a dog shoe with you know what on the bottom of it. Also interesting yesterday, Sarah Commander, Robert Nelson, Chaz, and all the people who were out there doing all that BS, they were nowhere to be seen at the election. And what you did see was a bunch of pissed off voters and a bunch of idiot councilmen, except for Amy Hevlin. She's the only one that knew the voters did not want this crap. But those self-pontificating people, it was bullshit. Beer Bomb tried to steer me down. Son, you ain't got enough in you, boy. Look at you, pretty boy, sitting up there indignant about 4-1 loss where you look like a fool. Any of you people that voted for this ass clown, you can unvote him out because he don't have your best interest in mind, and he wouldn't know what the Constitution was if he stood in the middle of the road and you put it on the front of the school bus and run over it with him. He just doesn't know they're all listening to Clay. And Clay went from one shit show loss to the BCC this afternoon. My last shout out is to Chief Hurley of the Defuniak Spring. For you guys that know Marshall Hurley needs some encouragement to go back and do his job correctly. Look, Chief, do whatever you want, but let your conscience be your guide. I'm not foolish enough to know that you haven't done your job correctly, and won't you just man up on it and go finish up what you're supposed to do? Take all the bullshit out that didn't belong in there and go get some sworn affidavits with all the information on it. And how about interviewing the person accused of the crime? I'm going to do an in-depth show about the chief soon, but we're going to give the chief a chance to reach down there between his legs and see if he's a mayor or a colt. We're just not sure. And moving on to what we're getting ready to go to, we're going to go into the BCC meeting. But first, a little background. I get pretty upset at the end of the meeting, and I'll tell you why. At the first of the meeting, a great thing happened. Timothy Paget, for you guys don't know, was a Special Forces non-commissioned officer from Walton County. He volunteered after 9/11 to go to the Special Forces. And unfortunately, he was killed in Afghanistan about 2007. So, anyway, I had the honor of being somebody from the special operations world. As we were a unique world, and as a major, believe it or not, I had a customer, kind of like the commissioners have a people they answer to. Me, as a field grade officer in the front of the aircraft, I frequently answered to a non-commissioned officer, team sergeant, or a team officer, like a warrant officer or a young captain, because they were my customer. They were the guys getting off the aircraft in harm's way or needed some fire support should things not go wrong. And we took care of our own, like Anderson said, like he knew little about it. At least Boots looked concerned for a change. Boots actually told the truth today. It was refreshing for a while. But we took care of our own, and when that young man got killed, I'm his ride in combat. I felt like I should be his ride home, and I was honored to assist him in being returned to Defuniak Springs. Paget was a hero, but it gets down to this. They were all touched by the act of Paget, as was I. as I am every day in awe of the young men and women across the nation that put themselves in harm's way most of the time for some worthless politician's decision, but they do so in the name of the Constitution, believing that they're doing what's right for you and me. Today, the BCC did not do what's right for us, the citizens, and they got a 0 on the report card because they let Clay Atkinson run away with the meeting. Everything wrong in Walton County somehow has an Atkinson when it comes to government wrong with it. There's a problem there. They think they are above the law. Watch Clay step on my free speech and watch the commissioner. I'm trying to tell him I don't want to talk about what Clay is, but the mere fact is you will need to understand before we do that and dishonor Sergeant Paget, let's go see what happened today at the BCC because it was a good thing. This is one of the good things of the meeting.
So as we looked into the history, Commissioner Anderson was gracious enough to support us getting this plaque, and we worked with Colonel Colton and his retired and current members. And we also contacted Summer Paget, who still lives in the area and is the daughter of Sergeant Paget. This is something we are very honored to be a part of. I'm going to have Colonel Colton read the plaque.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to say thank you. Army retired, Colonel, retired at SoCal orders, moved the family right back here, but I was here from 11 to 13 in command of the 1st Battalion, then again from 17 to 19 in command of the 7th Special Forces Group. During that 17 to 19 period, my youngest was born down here at Sacred Heart, and so I would take my daughter to parks in the area, and that's when I personally found Paget Park. I was in 1st Battalion as a major when Tim was killed on May 8th, 2007. I would like to take a second to let everyone here in Walton County know what Tim Paget meant to us.
Amen.
After 9/11 and we went to war, Tim was one of the first, we call him SF-18 X-ray program, where you come into the Army, directly into Army Special Forces. That alone takes an exceptional person. And I know that from your community, someone who was the first responder at the time joined in and in relatively short order completed some of the most demanding physically and mentally schools that the Army has. As a combat diver, Army Ranger, Special Forces qualification course, and as a Special Forces medic, which it's a very challenging course that does everything from combat travel all the way through various types of clinical medical activity. Tim, was killed on May 8th, 2007 in Terracout. We were deployed. And before the group moved down here, I know Tim's, remains came here by aircraft, and then where he was interned here locally. And it's entwined to the community. Lo and behold, a few years later, we all moved down here, the Special Forces Group, and I can never miss an opportunity to say how thankful we are for the communities that we live in. As Joe mentioned, Summer, who was 8 years old when Tim was killed, is still here and working for the county. It makes it extra special. So Tim means a lot to us. We have multiple memorials on the camp for Tim. One at the battalion itself, where we have a rock garden with a rock set aside for Tim, then one on Memorial Wall. Every year, the unit does memorials for those killed in action. This year, they're going to set the day aside from doing it at Camp Bull Simons. They'll do one on the following day. But we're looking forward to doing this at Paget Park on May 8th, which is the anniversary of Tim's death. After that action of note, Tim was posthumously awarded the Bronze Star Medal for Valor, the Combat Infantryman's Badge, and the Purple Heart for his wounds received in action. And for those that don't know, a Valor Award in the military is really only given when it's clear that the service member was aware of the risk and the danger, and they chose to take the actions they did anyways to do what needed to be done, save fellow soldiers, to accomplish the mission, and Tim did that. We've worked on some language. I'll read it right now for the group. Paget Park, dedicated to Sergeant Timothy P. Paget, Company B, 1st Battalion, 7th Special Forces Group. Sergeant Timothy P. Paget was killed in action while supporting Operation Enduring Freedom on May 8, 2007. He was struck by enemy small arms fire while on mounted reconnaissance patrol in the Sangin District, Helmand Province, Afghanistan. We hope this park serves as a constant reminder of the ultimate sacrifice made by Tim and so many other servicemen and women of our community. We enjoy the safety and freedom they gave everything to preserve. Honor our legacy through selfless commitment in everything we do. I thank you for everyone's consideration of this project.
Thank you. Gary, you have anything else?
Yes, Commissioners, on the last note, as far as the adoptive park program, this is something that we've actually wanted to do for quite some time. This was the perfect opportunity for us to actually start working on this program. We have already been working with staff, and we should have a draft for you by next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Osborne, just a second, let Mr. Osborne.
I just want to thank the Colonel very much for saying those words. Thank you.
For the record, my name is Alan Osborne. At the time Tim was killed, I was a major, and I worked for U.S. SOCOM. I had just got back from Afghanistan, and I glued Glenda, and I knew Timmy was at Bragg, and the 7th Group had not moved yet. Make sure I'm right. I was an MH-53 driver and a gunship driver, and I frequently flew 18 series men on my aircraft. These men are not normal men. They are SEAL team members, Special Forces guys, SBT, and all the men that make up what I call the operators of U.S. SOCOM. I knew Glenda personally, so when Timmy died and I was at Hurley, I became personally involved in receiving his body from Afghanistan. And then I helped load it, and some SF guys, I've got the video of it, and then I flew him into Defuniak Springs. We've celebrated a lot of people that have never done as much as Timmy, and I embrace this because I've been, although I love the statue, it does not tell what the man sacrificed. As the Colonel said, SOCOM and Special Operations training is not, I'll just expand on that, is not for the weak, and it sure wasn't. 9/11 on, we had a massive task to take something called Special Operations and do something that's not a soft truth. We had to mass produce it because the nation needed it. This is a mandatory, and we should recognize all the people that are out there on that wall and that little thing that gave their all. This is more important than anything because America's in a struggling time, and heroes like this are the ones that step forward. I will tell you, Afghanistan was ugly, and it's personal, and the soft community does take care of its own. There may be forest services within that, and maybe Space Forces will be part of it soon. But I'm telling you that there's no service in between the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who serve there. We're all one unit, and we believe in our task for the Department of Defense that we are a special part of it, and Timmy sure should be elevated to that level. I thank you for supporting this. I've been after it for years. I didn't know they were doing this or I would have assisted, but this is a great thing, and it needs to be done. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Mr. Glenn.
Motion to approve placing the plaque at Pageant Park, and then we'll have a second motion, I think, for the
Second.
Any discussion of the board? Any more discussion of the audience?
Yeah, I'd like to say a few words.
Okay.
I knew Timmy, as we knew Timmy Paget, and his brothers and sisters, and his mother Glenda, who worked for the Supervisor of Elections Office for a number of years in Fort Walton County. He was a special young man. He was a public servant. He was someone that exemplified humility. He was someone that was very giving. And like Mr. Osborne said, he's one of the ones that gave it all. So I don't think that there's anything, I don't think there's enough, I don't think there's enough that we can do to honor and to say thank you for the people that give us the liberty and the freedom to be here and to do what we do and to enjoy this country in the way we do. And so for Officer Paget and those that came before him, we just want to salute you, sir, and all of those in the United States military. We thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Mr. McCormick.
Likewise. I'd like to ask, is any of the family here today? Okay. Well, in honor of the sacrifice and from the board and Sergeant Paget, I think it would be appropriate just to stand and salute this family and Mr. Paget for his sacrifice. So I stand and salute.
Chair.
Okay, folks, this was the best thing the BCC did all day. And I'm going to tell you about this point, I was in tears. And I thought, God, maybe they'll get it today. Unfortunately, that was not to be true. I will be proven wrong. And people say, Alan was out of hand and got pissed off. I'm going to tell you something. I didn't elect Clay Atkinson, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happens. And we'll go to that. Hold on just a second. I'm talking to you, Clay, you steaming pile of feces. You don't have the right to block my free speech. You don't have the right to tell people what they can and can't say. Now, you can advise the commissioners that they shouldn't comment on this unless they think it's unrelated to what you have advised them on. But you don't have the right to make decisions and stop people from talking. You're a fucking intern attorney, excuse my French, a sorry-ass one who's never had an oath to the Constitution and wouldn't understand a constitutional freedom unless it ran over him with a damn dump truck. You know, it was sad today. Commissioners, he advises you only. You guys go read the First Amendment. Now, you didn't have to answer me today. But what happened today is Clay stopped you from hearing information that may have told you Clay was wrong. You may have heard something that proved to you that you had to take action as a commissioner, but you could have taken Clay's advice and just listened and said nothing. I've got up there many times and pontificated just as bad as Clay for the board to say nothing, but instead we've gone to even phony Tony. He believes he can say, that's why I told him I don't give a F what you think, Tony. You are not going to restrict my free speech. I spent most of my time trying to tell the board to tell Clay to shut up so they could even know if what I said was true. Clay didn't want them, but here's what was really going on. On March 9th, 2021, now, Clay claims today, and I'm going to go to that part in a minute, Clay claims that they should not talk to me because there's the appeal of a 2017 NOPC that they've been on notice since at least 2018 was under appeal. So 3 years later, in 2021, the Board of County Commissioners, with Clay there, heard information and made a motion and passed a direction to Clay and Mack to do something within 60 days. Now, in 2021, if you do math, unless you're Clay, 2017 appeal was in place. So today I wanted to talk about something that Clay had already previously agreed could be talked about because a motion was made and a motion was passed. But today, because my free speech was urinated on and stifled by Tony Anderson and Clay, and the rest of the commissioners were probably sitting there, you know, some of them probably didn't know whether to scratch their watch or wind their butt. I mean, really. But I was pissed off. How dare you talk about somebody as honorable as Timmy Paget and the Constitution and then spit on it? From two little girls up there, two ladies up there trying to talk. One of them said she never spoke in public. And the first person she had to deal with was our attorney. Do you think she'll be back to feel free? Folks, you watch this and you ask yourself, are we free in this county? Or is Clay Atkinson deciding what we can and can't say in public? Look, my commission doesn't have to answer me. I just want Clay to shut the hell up. I put a meme out on Facebook that said, please, Clay, shut the hell up, but with a worse word. But they stepped on it today. And I lost it because it took me back in time to the cockpit. and young men like Timmy in the back waiting for the 1 minute call to lock and load and either run out or run on to that aircraft for safety, or in the worst case scenario, take their last ride home on a steel horse. The BCC, most of them, not all of them, I know I generalize a lot, but you people that are good, no, y'all don't get it. I will say that Boots told the truth today. I'll talk about that towards the end, and I'll play that part. But this was sad today. It was sad what happened. Free speech got... The elected officials never knew what the issue was. Clay was just sure he wasn't going to let me say it out loud. Sad, sad. Like I said, you don't have to like what I say. You don't have to answer the questions I ask. But to tell me that I cannot voice something that's already been voiced before, and the conditions and parameters of what the objection is have already been discussed and agreed to be not relevant, suddenly became relevant because Mac and Clay failed to follow the direction of the board. And maybe they're above the rules. Clay, I understand you tore up tickets during CU. Wasn't that the special magistrate's job to tell that be done by the BCC? Clay has taken over the county. Did you see him take that defeat at Defuniak last night? He's part of that too. Folks, we're on a roll. We're winning. But this is still going on. It's the sea of apathy, and we don't deserve this. So let's go over here and watch what goes down. It's sad. Okay, here we are today. This is a first-time attender on the Alan Osborne show. Her name is Andy Anderson. Audie. I was thinking of a war story. Anyway, Andy Anderson is this young woman's name, and she comes up to tell of a problem and how long her family's owned this property. Now, it's related to what I'm going to talk about shortly. That's sad, isn't it? But, anyway, Clay is going to begin to shut her down. Now, she wants to talk about some of the same issues. And you know what's funny is she wants to talk about something that was going on in development. But recently, Danny Glidewell and Boots, too, kicked off a discussion on the Moxie Hotel afterwards. 30 minutes of testimony on compliance and what it meant, unannounced. And Clay didn't say a word. He also didn't say a word when him and Mac were directed 3 years ago on March 9th to do something by the BCC before the next major development order was approved, because Boots said he didn't know what the standards were. And they have failed to do so, and Clay and Tony for the next 9-10 minutes try to cover that up. So watch this thing in its entirety, and you can't make this shit up. They spit on the Constitution today, and that's enough for me. Go ahead, Miss Anderson.
Get your name and spell your last name.
My name's Andy Anderson, Anderson. Never done this before. I'm not a public speaker, so if my voice breaks, I'm
Watch
sorry.
Clay.
I gotta see him.
As soon as he realizes it's Sandestin that he's conflicted on.
So I'm from Sandestin, and my family built in 1999. And back in October, I saw all these little flags out by my house in the backyard across from the pond. And I didn't know what it was. I thought that it was just irrigation or something like that. And it turned out that they were marking it to take out oak trees. Well, we have a beautiful oak canopy that goes across Baytown Loop. And in further discussion, when I found out that it was not just taking out our oak trees, of course I started this, let's save our oak trees. That's not what it was. They were trying to put in a east gate. And this east gate went from an extra lane going down 98 and going down Baytown Loop.
Clay's starting to tell Tony, I don't like this. Good, Tony. We got to do something. Do something, Tony.
So we thought we were fighting, okay. Come to find out, there was a study done, and $100,000 or $400,000 was spent from engineers to find out what the traffic pattern was.
Because it's in non-compliance. It's in substantial deviation, and she even knows it.
The road with an extra lane of traffic. Well, this study was done Memorial Weekend of last year, which is not a very good time to do it, but it's actually the busiest time to do it. So I felt like not just me, everybody, the numbers were inflated. Well, back in November, I was at a bar, and there was some off-duty security guys there, and they said, well, we're told to send the contractors down to the east gate from the north gate. They're told to do that. So that makes the numbers go up even higher during that time. So I'm asking y'all, and I don't know who to ask, but I feel like Walton County is our only hope to get the employee housing stopped, because they're wanting to bring it onto the property, and that's what this is all about. They're wanting that extra lane of traffic because they need that infrastructure to build the employee housing that wants to build.
Look at Clay. He's like, Tony, you got to pass them off. Pass them off.
Ma'am, if you would get with our planning department and meet with them and express your problem, the problem you think it's going to cause, stay in touch with them. If you don't have satisfaction from them, bring it back to the board, and it may well become a code issue if it is a code issue for the board.
Now look at this. Clay wants to address all this stuff, and it may be a code issue. Well, if it's Sandestin, how come she can talk about it? Why didn't you tell her she couldn't talk about Sandestin? Why not? She's telling you she thinks something in violation. You're just like, oh, okay, take it to code. He can take it to the special magistrate from code. Well, I was sitting there bringing paperwork saying I've already been that, and the special magistrate agreed with me. In fact, you've been given direction, Clay, that you haven't done, but it's whatever story is convenient. But please pontificate, Clay.
Address or development order compliance issue that planning has to address, you need to go through the magistrate process. So let's start at planning, and we'll work our way back here if they cannot help her.
Could I ask,
Go ahead.
where are you talking about? An east gate?
Okay, so
here's what else is significant. Tony's not paying attention to the time because he don't care with anybody but me. That's selective enforcement for Alan Osborne. That's more targeting than the reason I was on a, quote, list. He's letting Danny, Commissioner Johns, Clay, anybody just continue on, but her 3 minutes are up. But watch me. The gavel's not in his hand, and she's 41 seconds over. How far does Tony let them go? As far as they won't, because it's not me. Go ahead, Danny.
I was saying this, but where
I was not prepared. I just came here to see what this was all about. There's actually a map of this. They're going to move where the existing gate is. Is that the one by Applebee's? That's the one by Applebee's. They're going to move it out. There's going to be a roundabout right there at the very end where it goes right or left. There'll be a roundabout there. Then to the right, down between Prestwick and Trend Drive, they're going to put a gate there. That's where the gate will be.
Okay, I found it.
Exposing that area. So now Sandestin's actually not even a gated community, because I live in Prestwick, which is right there.
Okay.
Now also note how much Tony really gives a flip. He's already got his briefcase out, put up his nose, he's put up his notes, he's already closed his briefcase, he's not listening to this person, and he's wondering how long can he hold it before he craps himself again. And note, Tony, it's already 1 minute and 35 seconds over her time, and she's allowed to talk about Sandestin. Why not me, Tony? Why not?
You see it?
Yes, ma'am, I found it.
I'm sorry, I don't have a copy of it. I just met these ladies, and I was just coming here to see what this is all about.
Okay, we'll start with planning, okay?
Okay.
And just
Talk with them about the lawsuit, and we'll talk about it with you, but not Mr. Osborne.
I think it's the same as me.
yeah, my brother's name Andy too, spelled different.
Okay, thank you.
But we're not yet. Okay, Tabitha, come up.
Now here's where it gets bad. So she got about 5.5 minutes, Tony, and you were so nice to her, and Clay didn't object about talking about Sandestin. Now Clay's reading his phone. Oh shit, more Sandestin. Gotta watch Donna, see if we can catch her doing anything wrong, so I can write her up too.
That's to show you where a true drive is. It's just going to be an example. To give you an idea in Sandestin. This is what they're proposing?
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a proposal.
Oh, it's not a we'll get to that.
Guys, I mean, if this is going to be a complaint about a proposed development or DRI, I just want to go ahead and say.
Look at this. Clay goes, y'all aren't talking about anything that can affect or expose me and my phony baloney cohorts. Now you got to listen to me on this, because, oh crap, we've already let Beckdale start. These people are telling us they're in their clearing, and none of us know about it. Hey, your development order's in violation. What are they going to do with the stormwater? How much traffic is in there? And how many parking places are there? Oh, they say they're exempt because they're in the DRI. Well, not if they're in compliance. But one thing's for sure, Clay is going to let nobody discuss anything that has to do with his past phony baloney relationships, because he used to be the developer's attorney. He has an admitted conflict on Sandestin. But watch this. And watch this.
Say, I think we're getting the cart before the horse. The board may ultimately have to hear this. It may not ultimately have to hear this. What standard it is, whether it's quasi legislative,
Which doesn't matter. They can still hear it. You're not having a quasi. You're not having a this. You're not having a that. You're just having a citizen trying to tell the BCC what she's concerned about coming up and how can she get information, and Clay does not want her to talk. None of those people up there that were elected by us asked Clay to decide if Tabitha could just tell them what she was upset about. But they'll never know the details because Clay and Tony even threatens to have her removed. Tony, you're an idiot. How you could want to support the fallen hero like we did earlier than today? It's because you're bought and paid for by Shipman and all them other people. You don't like I said, you sue me. We'll all go take depositions about what we know, and we can read all the stuff and make it public. And there's some more public stuff, but watch poor Miss Howard get stomped on by Clay and Tony ganging up to take her First Amendment rights. And everybody else is powerless, because if they go against their attorney's recommendations, he'll caution them that they're in danger of no protection and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and ABC. It'll be Clay's bullshit. So watch this thing unwind. And Stan's powerless to do anything about it.
I mean, we're going to talk more about it for development, relocation of traffic, or a potential code case. It really does go to planning so it can be properly investigated.
But if they're already moving forward on
May I
this.
please speak?
Just you'll have time, okay?
If they're already moving forward on this, though, that is a problem now.
And that would be a code case or a planning department case to start enforcement action against. It's not something.
How do we know?
The board doesn't.
We don't know what Tabitha's going to say, but Clay doesn't want it said here.
Numerous back and forth. Gets before a magistrate, they say, Board of County Commissioners already handled all this.
What's wrong with that?
Sorry, I
What's wrong with that if they handle it? They're allowed to handle it. They're elected reps. Caution. I'm stopping it. Caution. Caution.
Tabitha Howard, HOWARD.
Howard, bullshit.
Politics are about working together where we can and standing for principles when we can't.
Clay's.
I'm sorry, I don't know where I feel is mutual interest between the Sandestin residents and the BCC. The project is additional employee housing that will be built within Sandestin.
What's he doing, Stan?
It will have 52 units, approximately 290 homes.
Clay's reaching for Tony. He kicked him.
We can't discuss this if it's gonna be a matter
I'm
before
sorry.
anybody.
Well, using the Federal Employee Housing Act as a basis for their position, the SDI said that they're going to start construction September 22. This
Tabitha,
it avoids, he does
if
not
you're gonna
need any.
continue,
They have no idea. She has not got to the point. She's telling them the information she was given as a homeowner, and she's trying to ask the BCC what to do, and they don't want to even hear it. Clay and Tony ain't going to let her talk. Look at poor Donna. Look at Brad. He's like in awe, and even Danny and Boots are like, hell, what do we do? Can we not? Are we going to shut them all down? Look, Boots said 3 years ago, March 9th, that he had no idea and that there was no reason the staff couldn't get to the bottom of this in 60 days and to bring Dr. Harper back to the board. They haven't done it. And Clay does not want that talked about because you know why? The county shouldn't be providing services to the developer according to the law and ordinances unless the developer's in full compliance. So Mac Carpenter and them, they need to decide if Mac should even be involved because compliance, the BCC, it's up to the BCC to decide who's in compliance, not Mac Carpenter and not Clay, who's conflicted. So go ahead and watch Tony threaten to have her removed. They don't even know her full story. She's had a total of 48 seconds.
Normal practices.
We
Is this true?
we can't talk about this until the
How
process
does
starts.
the NOPC factor into this?
Tabitha, I'm honestly not aware of this project, and so we're going to have to.
It's really scary.
I understand.
About cutting down trees, the big live oaks, but in Sandestin, but the big canopy oaks. They have to in order to do a lot of the things and to move the east gate.
Go to planning and code first.
I've turned in code complaints and they won't even process them, and Clay knows it. They'll be done doing it before anything happens.
Some of these citizens, they have questions about some proposals that are going on within Sandusky DRI that may or may not be.
Tony's the one been covering it up.
After this meeting, just a code violation to get with Mr. Carpenter so that it can be properly investigated.
You might as well give an arrest kids and puppies, or candy and puppies, and send him out. He's the one been covering it up.
Ms. Howard, if you get with Mr. Corman,
Then he'll cover it up for us just like he's been doing the whole time. Now watch this. Watch Clay. He'll lose his mind.
For the record, Alan Osborne, I'm here about a thing that is board level. On March 9, 2021, this board took an action and voted to direct staff to look into the Sandestin water standards. I've sent all of that to you guys, and you took action and nothing happened. You directed Matt Carpenter and Clay, and I've sent you the video, to come up with a resolution within 60 days. Now, I have the special masters here, and I've already been to the special master. And I've got some evidence here. Also, what was presented to the board recently by Steve Hall and Matt Carpenter that all evidence, there was no new evidence. And that's what led to Fred Tricker getting up here saying, well, you know, mistakenly, we didn't see this at the planning board. We didn't see these documents and that. And I will tell you that I spent about $15,000 in public records requests and lawyers' fees. This is every single NOPC that's ever been put to the board, and I'm glad to turn it over. And it came from you in discovery in an old case. That case is not active, so you can discuss it, and you made this board motion. Booth said in that meeting he did not know what the Sandestin standard was and was uncomfortable. The board agreed that it should be solved within 60 days. Matt Carpenter said that he would get to it and that y'all would not approve another major project. I think the Moxie Hotel made number 5. If this goes to planning in the process, that will make number 6. There'll be funds borrowed on that, and I want to read you a couple of things.
Clay don't like this.
It doesn't go to code because it's already been to the special master, and I'd like to read from that because it's never been presented to the board in an NOPC. Nothing on drainage has. And in fact, Sandestin is moving forward with the 2017 NOPC, and according to Clay, it's under appeal.
It still is as of right now.
It still is. That's the only thing, and he just hijacks it. Watch his shit.
Osborne versus Walton County, Florida, political subdivision, state of Florida, and Sandestin Investments LLC, listed by the Florida District Court of Appeals, still open. It's pending litigation. We can't.
I'm just telling you what Sandestin.
He's welcome to dismiss his case. But
Look, I don't want to talk about that litigation. I'm talking. Listen, I just told them I don't want to talk about that. I told Clay it's unrelated to that other litigation. And the fact is that 2017 litigation was in place and the appeal when the issue that's not been enforced came before the board. And we've already discussed it. And I'm telling the board that Clay and Mac failed to follow the board's directive. But Clay, watch what he does. And watch what I do, because I'm not about to let Phony Tony trample my free speech. If he wants to arrest me over it, maybe we all need to go to court and he can just start arresting all of us. Every meeting, somebody is threatened to be removed from the stand forcefully because of the advice given by Clay. Listen, these elected officials, they work for us. Ultimately, they answer to us. We all answer to the law and the legislative laws that are passed, but the elected officials, they're our voice. And Clay's telling them, don't listen to your boss. You don't have to act on what your boss says because we elected you to do the right thing. Once we elect you, even though we put you in there, you have every opportunity to go unguided to do the right thing by us because you don't answer for 4 more years. But Clay does not want you to hear that he has not complied with something. So he's going to invent policy and say that this NOPC over here that has nothing to do with the March 9th, 2021 meeting, and I did a show called Vuja Day just a few weeks ago. It's got the Constitution on the cover. I cover this implicitly, what happened at that meeting. It's been 3 years, and we've through 6 if this new one comes through, I think that'll be the 6th major project after the Moxie Hotel that's been approved, while Boots admitted they don't know what the standard is, and they voted 3-2 that most of them didn't know. So how are they supposed to enforce the law, and how has this been put before them if they didn't know and Mac and Clay haven't complied? You can't make this shit up. I'm going to keep at it.
Didn't ask him to pontificate on it. Let me read you this. The evidence from this department.
Out of bounds. That's what he said. It's out of bounds. He doesn't even know. I'm talking about the March 9th meeting from 2021, and he's talking about something in 2017, and Tony can't do basic math. He's just going to do blindly what Clay says. He don't think for himself. It's either Shipman or Blue or Clay's hand shoved up Tony's mouth and moving that mouth. You know, I swear that's why he has to go to the bathroom all the time, because he's everybody's you-know-what. They've wore him out. He's the pivot man. Go ahead, Alan.
We have to legal advice from our attorney.
He's advising you not to make him do his job like you voted.
Case that you and Sandestin or the county, then we cannot talk about. Not on this subject, there's not. And you've already taken action while there wasn't. Listen, I just read to you, Mr. Anderson, March 9th, 2021. The 2017 NOPC was in effect and under appeal. And this board made a motion and directed its staff. I don't think policy of discussion.
The 2017 case did broadly address the Sandestin Investments DRI, the NOPC, and parts of the board's.
It broadly, look, it had nothing to do with drainage. It had nothing to do with the board members admitting they had a problem. The Walton County staff wrote the board a letter saying, we recommend that you have a hearing and fix this. The head engineer, and Clay is saying, listen to what Clay says. The board broadly everything discusses DRI when it comes to the DRI. It's like saying, well, it was daytime and there was sky and there was oxygen in it.
Of it. That is the lower tribunal case numbers 2017 CA 607. As recently as October of last year, Mr. Osborne requested the opportunity to file a brief as timely. He did make that brief on October 11th and then the order on October 23rd. So this matter is pending before a court of appeal.
Okay, but if this matter has already come before this board in 2021, and we said that we were going to come back to you within 60 days.
See, Donna gets it. Clay, you were at that board meeting when they decided that this was unrelated to the 2017 NOPC, and there was evidence that they had to act on from the county staff. Their head engineer indicated that we needed to have a hearing on what the standard was. So this is totally unrelated. Your own staff and you have testified, and I'm going to go back and find it in other board meetings, that and Mac, or maybe it was Mac that testified that there's nothing about drainage. Look, just print out the 2017 NOPC and read the findings of fact and what it said. There's nothing about drainage. So what they took action on in 2021 to direct the staff to answer, including you, Clay, is unrelated, but you don't like it because you're caught again, you crook.
And we did not.
And Mr. Osborne then initiated litigation.
No, I did not. Can I talk before him, please? I'm tired of being talked over by Clay.
Clear about litigation.
You don't have to answer, but I have free speech. We need a lawsuit over that, we can do that too. But I just want a chance to speak. Listen, the litigation is
definitively address the litigation provisions that we don't discuss active litigation. So it's also interrelated, commissioners. I can't advise you that it's appropriate to get into it. If he wants to finish his last 50 seconds time.
Listen, now he said I can't advise you if it's appropriate to get into it. Then why did you advise them already to stop me? And then Tony stops me. So Tony, you didn't even listen to what Clay said. It was English. I can't advise you if it's inappropriate to stop him. That's ridiculous. Go ahead.
Paul, while I'm talking, we'll let him finish his last 50 seconds, but I'm advising the board this is outside of.
We'll let him finish his last 50 seconds. First he's done this, and now he's changing his mind, but I've already wasted most of my time trying to stop him from making me talk about something that's unrelated. They cannot choose my words and my subjects, and they continue to do so. What is this, the 6th or 7th time I've been threatened at the stand? 3 or 4 times with arrest, and I just want to speak. What is up? Come on, people. The communists are coming to get us, and that's why lawyers don't need to be a part of government except for advice. They don't need to participate. They just need to listen and write opinions. But injecting everything the commissioners need to do and how they do it, oh no, tearing up tickets, making decisions, and now he's telling the commission that I can't tell them that he didn't do what he was supposed to. Or Matt Carpenter. Unbelievable. His policy and advice is that you should not enforce the board's voted on action at a lawfully meeting that I never objected to in 2021. We just didn't do what you told us to, the elected officials. We disobeyed, and we don't want to talk about it.
What your meeting procedures and policies call for concerning pending litigation.
And I'm advising the board, Clay has declared a conflict on Sandestin, and you shouldn't take his advice. So let me finish, please. The special master hearing, I came here and spoke about this, like I said, under nobody's objection, and Clay was in here and at their advice.
Look at Tony.
You passed a motion by this board to direct staff that you did not know what the standard was. Let me read you this. And you still have never presented this letter before the board, and it's not the subject of that NOPC. There is no drainage in the NOPC, and I have it right here if you'd like to see it. The evidence at the special magistrate hearing makes clear that the violations of the OP standard are occurring. So there's no need to go to the code because the state said so. The department agrees with the special magistrate's finding that the violations of the development order all occurred. Walton County objected and hired Dr. Harper while the litigation was going on, and we all discussed it. You adopted the standards.
Tony's got the gavel. Now, I just want to show you, Tony let the other lady go on and on. Donna wants to ask questions. Brad wants to ask questions, but Tony's now decided that the authority they had to talk before and ask questions will not be afforded to those commissioners because it's me up there. Now, I've wasted most of my time arguing with Clay. I'm just trying to get back to the 2021 meeting. And this was bullshit. And it pissed me off on a day that I had to sit back and think about the bullshit in Afghanistan and the good men and women we have lost over there. And you know why? It's because of shit administration people and lawyers like Clay and shitbags like Tony and Boots and Boots is over there knowing the wrong's going on today. He knows it. Look at his expression right now. And Danny doesn't know whether to scratch his butt, wind his watch. Brad's disgusted, Donna's bewildered, and Tony's moving out with the good old boy intent. Stan can't say nothing or Tony will threaten to fire him like they did Quinn. This is a shit show, and I'll let them know while I'm going out the door. To hell with it. Arrest me.
That's it, Mr. Osborne. That's 3 minutes.
Can I say something here? As this has been an ongoing issue for many, many years, and what's happened is Sandestin has continued to, and to your point, develop. And so is there something that we can do as a board to make sure that we go through those documents and we make sure that there is compliance? Because this has been an ongoing problem. Is there something that we can do right now?
Important. Make Clay and Mac do what you told them to. You already passed a motion. They didn't do it. Fire Clay.
Commissioner Jones, is there, and Commissioner Anderson as the chair, is there a policy that says that if something's going on and the board votes for it, we're not going to take, the staff can just choose not to take action? Because you directed the staff to take action and told by the board.
We'll check into that.
You don't do that to anybody else.
I do it to everybody.
No, you didn't. You didn't do it to people before us.
Clay backs me all the time. And I will tell you, the law is being broken and it's in your lap. Every document since 2007 you can fail with the board. I don't care.
Okay. So, Mr. Osborne, we're not going to have that behavior in here.
Fucking dirtbag. I hate Tony. You stick it, Tony. You mess with my free speech. You're not worth it, you little troll. So anyway, before I get bent out of shape. So the last one we're going to talk about today is Boots. Boots did the right thing today. Suzanne went up there and asked him, and here's the thing. Either the rules apply or they don't. And Boots is seeing a trend in this, and he knows it. Look at him right now. Boots, good job today telling the truth. Nobody could say anything once you told the truth. Imagine, hey, dummy, Lodwell, I'm talking to you. I know you're running out to eat a biscuit or go to the cafe or D-Train's whatever club and you and Barker cry the blues. But listen to me. Imagine if you'd have done the right thing from the get-go. And imagine you, Phony Tony. Imagine the beatdowns of ridicule you would have avoided. And all of you that have had to deal with me on the truth. You could have avoided all that by doing the right thing. But we're going to repeat history because Clay's not going to let us voice the history as a people. So think about that today, and hold on just a second.
I do. I do think anybody that's on the planning board or any board must go by the rules. If we can't trust them to go by the rules and they make the recommendation to y'all, it is not a good thing. And I certainly don't always agree with Boots, and he never agrees with me, so we get along real well. But if Fred Tricker did something that knowingly he broke the planning rules, I think it was awful. I thought it was awful when Tony Anderson brought up that Quinn was vaping in the office. That is against county policy. He was not fired for vaping in the office. He was not fired for cause. But Boots, I've gotten 3 text messages today of people watching this thing, and I'm going to ask you.
And one was from me.
Liar, have you dipped in this meeting? See, I think rules are for everyone. They're not just for certain people. I think they're for everybody. And I think everybody accidentally breaks rules. I think vaping in your office, when it says no tobacco products on any county property, I think that means no tobacco property on any county property. Vaping is a tobacco product. Boots, tobacco is a tobacco product. So the rules are for everyone. They're not just for one person, and we don't just kick one person off a planning board because maybe he accidentally broke a rule, so y'all need to investigate that. But I cannot imagine that Fred Terricker did it deliberately. But Boots, you know the rule, and if you dip today in this meeting, and I can't see you from where I'm sitting, but I've got pictures that people are texting me. If you did it in this meeting today, you were man enough to admit you did, because I know you're not a liar. But I think everybody has to go by the rules in Walton County, not just the select few.
Now, here's the thing about this. And I accidentally hit pause, so you missed whatever I said before. But look at Boots. He's not stressed. You know why? Because he just told the truth. He's like, to hell with it, I dip. Now, I don't really care that Boots dips, and that's not the point. The point is the elected people set the standard. And if the staff like Clay and Mac haven't complied and they don't do anything, that is the standard. Tony made a motion, and Boots and Danny voted to fire a guy without cause. Didn't even say he'd broke a standard like that, but what is it saying when they sit up there and they break the standards? Donna does. Look at how Donna's looking at you. And look, wasn't no big deal for Boots to tell the truth. It's not the end of the world. Hell, look how easy when he's up there caught in a conundrum up there, he doesn't know what to do. But he just told the truth. It's easy. If we would have done this on the Sandestin issue about 2004, 2005, when we really knew that the developer had lied on its reporting, we'd probably save the taxpayers $20, $30 million, and countless homeowners lost sleep and stress over the lies that were told by their own government who knew it. Believe it or not, when my stepfather was in Vietnam, they sprayed him with Agent Orange. They said, oh, we didn't do that. But after too many people said they had pictures of it, and it was there, the government had to admit it. This was a good thing Boots did today, but the Constitution got trampled on. By the way, thanks for telling the truth, Boots. Anyway, I'm going to finish it up with me. The elected officials hold the standard for us, but we, the people, put them there. Come on, we want you to do the right thing. Because if you don't hear, they won't at the state. And we already know they're not in Washington, D.C. The BCC don't lead by the example in Washington, D.C. Enforce our ordinances. Your staff that's been identified as telling falsehoods, address the issue now. Bad news is not fine wine. It will not get better with time, and it won't become more valuable. These mistakes are going to become more costly. Do something about it on the BCC. It's time for all of us to be better Americans. I'm not a perfect man. And these people need to admit the mistakes that have gone by the staff and others so we can move forward. I can't make this shit up. It'll be a good story. Chief, I hope you've listened carefully besides the stuff I told you to begin with. The next show is probably going to focus on that. And then I'm going to take you back through history with Clay Atkinson and Sarah Commander and Scott Brannon and lots so you know how we got here today. For those of us that don't learn the history of Walton County, it appears they want us to repeat that bullshit we went through. It's my mission on the Alan Osborne Show to give you the education and tools you need to vote no. Vote no to that bullshit. That's all today. You can't make this shit up. I'll see you real soon on the Alan Osborne Show. I'm sorry I look tired. This shit's depressing. God, where's Captain America when you need him? I don't know. He's probably hanging off the bedroom as a figurine in Robert Nelson's house by fishing line. Y'all see you next time. Good job on you, Defuniac. This is the Alan Osborne Show.